as you were reading and as I was listening to some of the messages, I was reminded. So what I reminded one of some of my own experiences being in higher education, but then also my experiences with consulting with folks in organizations and working with folks of color and folks who have other identities that have been marginalized by society in their experiences. So the piece about the person sharing and it feels like everyone's moved on, and what you were sharing around like how it could have been just after some event has happened, the day after or the day of or not long after, and it feels like everyone else is moving on. It speaks to the sense of isolation. And I know I've felt that isolation in different working experiences. And then also as a consultant supporting folks who have also had those similar experiences with isolation too, and it speaks to, for me, things that are resonate for me is this sense of folks join organizations and work in organizations. Yes, there's capitalism that we are still operating within that connects work to survival. In addition to that, I had the experience of working with folks for whom the organizations, the offices, the units that they are in, they are there because they deeply believe in the work and the values, the stated values of the organization, and having experiences like that where you're having this experience that is connected to your own identity. You talked about vicarious trauma, so I'm thinking even back in 2020 in this awakening, and I'm using that in quotation marks myself, that many people in organizations seem to have at that time around things that Black people had always known very intimately. And then in many ways, so that sense of isolation, in that I'm sitting here having this experience and it feels like everyone else is oblivious to it, or at least there's this expectation, which adds to it a bit for me when I'm thinking about this and the impact that it has on folks. We're still expected to then go on as if nothing is happening or meet those deliverables or meet those deadlines without any acknowledgement of what might be happening internally. And so, even as you're talking about this, I think about words and experiences and feelings like institutional betrayal in some cases, feeling completely like, oh, I'm doing this work. And so, a theme that I bring into my work, even that I'm reminded of as you're sharing your story and sharing the words of your collaborators, is that folks with minoritized identities are often in organizations doing major work, but are also having their own experiences too. So we're in organizations and we're trying to alleviate, resolve, bring about more equity, but also just recognize that folks also have identities that are also under attack, could be locally, could be nationally. And supervision, I believe, like the way individual managers and things might not necessarily be able to take all of that away, but I do feel that supervision and how folks are cared for and supported while they are doing that work does make a difference. So something else that came up while you were reading that poem was the person sharing, "Well, I was discouraged by a supervisor to apply for this promotion or this other position because I didn't believe my English was strong enough." So like all of these things swirling around, and the impact that can have on folks with minoritized identities, marginalized identities within organizations, and how supervision plays such an important role in supporting folks or adding to that trauma, those experiences.